Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla McCullough. I am a producer and communication specialist for AfroComicCon and TEASE, and I'm so excited to be moderating this panel of esteemed judges for the 2024 AfroComicCon International Film Festival and TEASE Movie Trailer Film Fest. Throughout this conversation, we're going to get the opportunity to get to know some of the judges behind the festival and dive into their careers and perspectives. So let's dive right in. Just as a disclaimer, these judges have a stacked resume, but so we have enough time for the conversation. A bit of it is going to be abbreviated, but just know it's a pretty stacked resume. So first up, we have Joy. I'm going to add you to the stage. Hey, Joy.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey. So, Joy Ofudo, you are a celebrated Nigerian American voice actor, creative executive, and your work is largely in animation, interactive games, commercials, including dub, Disney parks, and Tampax, as well as trailers, audiobooks, podcasts, and live announcing. Pretty incredible. You voice Posey, the anxious butterfly in Asali, Power of the Pollinators, and you've loaned your trained voiceover talents to a wide range of characters across genres, from a sweet grandmother to a kite-flying superhero to multiple fleet and battle commanders. Her voice lives in award-winning and highly rated games, including Hearthstone from Blizzard Entertainment, Blacktop Hoops VR from Vinci Games, and My Time at Sandrock from Pythia Games. She's deeply passionate about flooding the children and adult animation industry with inclusive voiceovers and representation. Thanks so much for being here, Joy.
Thanks. It's my honor to be here.
So next up, I'm going to bring up to the stage Vivian. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So here, Kayla.
Thank you so much for being here. So, Vivian Marie Lamolli, you are an Afro-Latina singer, dancer, producer, and you're just beginning your directorial career and debut with a virtual play fest. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, you're known for your role as Feely in Hulu's East Los High, Bella in the film Bodied by Joseph Kahn and Eminem, and Vanessa Del Rio in Warner Brothers' feature film The Queen of Manhattan. You also can watch you on CBS Network SWAT, NCIS Hawaii, as Kitty on Paramount Plus's Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. And you recently released your debut EP, Viv, which you can find on all music platforms. You can also catch her this new upcoming year in El Clavito, a dark fantasy thriller directed by Manny Ruiz. Pretty exciting. Again, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
So next to the stage, we have Jason Kelley. Hey, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So, Jason, you are an award-winning, Emmy Award-winning, and NAACP Award-winning actor and multi-hyphenate artist with a career spanning 2 decades across stage, TV, voice performance, and producing, and you continue to further expand your range. We can find you in Season 1 of Taylor Sheridan's gritty for-profit prison drama, Mayor of Kingstown, which has premiered as the #1 original scripted series on Paramount Plus, 3 seasons running, a pretty great feat. In 21, you cemented yourself as the go-to leading man in the gaming world with your hilariously brooding portrayal of Colt Vaughn in the hit title Deathloop, earning 7 official Best Lead Performance nominations, including the BAFTA Games Awards and the Game Awards. You also co-founded LA's first all-Black co-ed improv troupe, Tuskegee Experiment. It was cast in the ensemble of Kemp Power's original stage production of One Night in Miami. You can catch Jason mid-season on 911 and in 2025 upcoming on a Netflix Demon Hunter animated series. And you are also a member of the Regina Kings, where I was first introduced to you. So an improv group, pretty fun, pretty exciting. We love the Regina Kings. Yes.
The Kings is here. The Kings is here.
So next up, we have Tony Fruition Spires. Tony, thanks for joining.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Kayla.
Of course. So Tony, again, another pretty stacked resume. You are a veteran filmmaker, television producer, singer, songwriter, recording artist, poet, spoken word artist, and longtime theater artist and teaching artist. In your feature film category, some of your feature films include the Pan-African Film Fest Best Feature Film nominated Tears of a Clown. You are the pioneering director of the experimental news media film Necessary Drama. You are executive producer for 2 seasons of the non-scripted comedy talk show Give Me Five. And in the world of stand-up comedy, you're the founder, executive producer of the Bay Area Black Comedy Competition and Festival, which has helped launch the careers of many of today's leading comics, including Jamie Foxx, Cat Williams, and Deanne Cole. Along with your wife, Rhonda, you are the co-founder of the Full Visions Arts Foundations, and you serve as the artist in residence film instructor for Making Movies That Matter Youth Film Festival in Los Angeles. Currently, you're executive producer and director of the Los Angeles-based non-scripted show, The Situation Shift with Zoe Williams, and The Unk and Fab Show, an Oakland-based hybrid sitcom and reality show starring Bay Area music icon, Mr. Fab. Amazing. So, again, I'm just feeling so inspired already by just reading all of your bios, and I'm so excited and ready to stop talking and hear you guys speak now. So,
Kayla,
yes.
May I say something?
Of course.
You're an amazing host.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That means so much coming from you.
You are. You really are.
Thank you. So, you guys have watched over 38 submitted films of numerous genres, including Afrofuturism, science fiction, speculative Black fiction, horror, fantasy, anime, so many more. So my first question for all of you is there a genre that you guys are typically drawn to? And while watching these films, was there anything that stood out to you that you aren't typically interested in or drawn to, but surprised you, pleasantly surprised you?
Absolutely. I am an animation lover and actor, and a couple of us are here. So that was, of course, naturally the first category I wanted to dive into. I was really proud and excited to see the submissions in that category. But unexpectedly across the submissions, I think action and thriller really captivated me. To produce a thrilling idea, almost like comedy, requires you to tap into what we love and what we fear, right? Like what we hold dear. So I realized that there was a little bit of a thread between what makes animation or comedy magical and special and what makes thrillers special. So, I serioused up a little bit to get into that category and judge, but it was really exciting. And I love the idea of the thrillers. And there were over 50 submissions. So we were deep in those, in the throws. It was fun. So for me, it was that category. Yeah. Vivian, how did it go for you?
I know. I was just thinking, I said 57 to be exact. I was like 30 something.
Wow.
It was so moving. There were a few submissions by the same director, and I thought that was just absolutely stunning to see their different, I don't want to name any names, but I was in awe of their work because they had such different takes on 2 completely different genres. One was so much drama and heartfelt, and to do that in such a short amount of time is no easy feat. But just like Joy animation, there was one that was, all of them were so beautiful, but there was one that stuck out to me that was just, it felt so live action and so real that you can just kind of jump into the screen and be right there with them on that adventure. So I was really thrilled with the animation.
I love that. So when you guys are watching and judging films, is there any particular elements that you are looking for? Is there anything that you need to see to give your stamp of approval? Like, this is a really great film, or this is what I need to see in any films that I watch?
Absolutely. I need you to get my attention from the jump. It's a short. We don't have a lot of time for exposition. So you need to, a creative really has to know exactly what their story is, where it's going, and how to begin that story in a compelling way that draws my eyeballs to your screen and makes me want to watch the first 30, 40 seconds to a minute to go, oh, I think I get where this is going, but I'm eager to watch and see where it goes. There were several in the animation space as well as the fantasy space, which are my 2 favorites, that immediately within 30 seconds, an actor did something on screen and I went, I'm in. And I just settled in and enjoyed the ride and really got caught up in just being a fan. And I think that's really the key thing in an Afrofuturistic world of cinema. I just want to sit down and be a fan and just watch and get lost in the story and feel some kind of connection to some portion of that story that either resembles some facet of my childhood or my adulthood, and makes me think about the subject matter in a fresh new way. And it doesn't have to go all the way left. It just has to be a very specific point of view on the subject matter. And there was one particular animation that was so good, I reached out to the creative and asked him if he'd ever thought about making it into a video game. And he said, absolutely, but I want to make it a series first. And then the game, I was like, make it a game first, then turn it into a series so you can stay in control.
I love that. I love that. So grabbing the attention kind of like right away, bringing people into the story and the importance of that story and building that story.
Absolutely.
Kind of to build off of that, when you guys are working, no matter what side, if you are the director, if you are the talent within film and filmmaking, has there ever been something that you didn't initially consider to be an important part, or some things that get overlooked within the process that after doing it, you're like, okay, this is important, I should remember this going forward?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, Tony, I would love to know what you think because of your history in film, and I see you pondering. For me, it was risk taking. Because you see so many of these films that the ones that stand out, sometimes I, as a judge, would reward the risk taking with either going to an absurd place with the comedy. Maybe the joke lands, maybe it doesn't, but you took a risk that others weren't willing to. Or the cinematic techniques. Like if we think about camera bears such a responsibility. The cinematography bears such a responsibility to the believability of the world, and varying up the shot, right? Taking the note or something that stuck with me, that, as you asked, like that I kept with me. I'm going to remember that later. When I'm watching and you're focused here, and then the depth of field switches to be able to convey, something gentle in the background to change up the emotion of a scene. It's such a risk. It's such a different choice that I really appreciated the filmmakers who made different choices.
I think for me, Joy, it was the nerdism, if you will. It was like the way nerds were celebrated, like across the board in the films. I'm not a nerd. I'm just not. I guess I'm a nerd ally. One of my cousins is a nerd, and he told me that. But just the way that the stories from the nerd perspective, and people may not even say that, oh, Tony, the movie you're talking about, they weren't nerds, but that's my POV, is that they were nerds. And how they were able to suspend my disbelief. Kind of like what Jason was alluding to, but specifically the nerdy characters, maybe the nerdy filmmakers, maybe the nerdy story, but to make it urban, if you will, to make it relevant to me, more of a urban or a person from the hood. I appreciated the fact that they were able to tell the story in a way that grabbed me. So I think, of course, I think the filmmaking was solid pretty much throughout, but just the way that the stories were told in such a way that my ear, which is not so much attuned to the nerd thing, was actually drawn in, and my suspension of disbelief was held throughout these short films. I think that's my perspective.
I love that. So, kind of speaking on your perspective, your experience, AfroComicCon this year is taking place in Oakland at the Grand Lake Theater. Now, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey. And the way that I was introduced to the West Coast in present day was actually through Issa Rae's TV series, Insecure. That's how I kind of got to know more about the landscape. And I really loved how she kind of weaved in a lot of the culture. Like she was showing Inglewood, she was showing LA artists and incorporating them all into her works. And I really felt like I was in that mood and in that mode. And I was taking notes. I was like, when I visit LA, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. So for Tony, for you, I know a lot of the work that you do includes a lot of like Oakland-based artists. You collaborate and use a lot of collaboration. You have your comedy fest, which incorporates again a lot of those artists, and you're doing your sitcom reality show, which takes an Oakland-based or Bay Area music icon. So how has that kind of like collaboration guided you in your process? What's it been like kind of collaborating and staying in the area?
Oh, that's a great question, Kayla. Thank you. I think, and those of you, I think I'm by far the most seasoned person on this panel, if you will. But I think it extends your career. I think that collaboration is key for career longevity and extension. And when I was younger, I didn't necessarily think like that. Filmmaking is highly collaborative, so you'll burn yourself out trying to be Robert Rodriguez. It's a hard hustle trying to do a film by yourself. And I never did that, but my theory was always go as far as you can. It still is to a great extent. Go as far as you can before you need other people. I see Jason in his booth. I'm sure he understands that. It's him and that microphone and that board. And he can do a whole lot before he turns it over to anybody else. And with me in music, it's the same way. Right now, I'm writing a screenplay, a feature screenplay, and I don't want any feedback or anything until I'm done and I'm ready to give it to whoever I have to give it to. So, but now in my senior years, so to speak, I appreciate that I don't always have to be at the helm of everything. If it's my project, then yes, I'm not just willing and ready. I demand it to be. But if it's someone else's, now I understand the importance of being a co-pilot or being a co something or other, being able to help, being able to lend my experience and my point of view to help someone else's vision take shape and all the way to, pardon the pun, fruition. So I think that's the key for me, is that I've learned that if I'm blessed to live longer, my career will thus be extended because I see the value of collaboration in such a way that I didn't see it before.
Amen to that. You know, I just, if I may, I want to piggyback on that a little bit. I'm actually on location right now, and I'm diving into my second album. So a lot of the things here in Texas, it's our final day. I think you just get so much influence from your surroundings and the people that you're working with. I mean, the culture. I never knew. It's a little different but than what we've been talking about, but Tejano culture. I've never really delved into like a Mexican American, besides East Los High type, I guess, mosaic and format and the work and the background where they've come from, because I am from the Caribbean. So having a lot of those parts involved in the work that you're already doing is so important.
So kind of speaking towards collaboration for everyone, when you are doing your best work, what is that environment like for you? How do you feel when you're doing your best work? And how can you kind of create that perfect storm with other people to create really great work?
Oh my goodness, I would love to jump on that, because my career got started on an improv stage, and it was possibly the most exciting collaborative ensemble effort I've ever been a part of. And that transitioned very quickly into sketch, a live new sketch show every single week for the better part of 2 years, that we would learn on Sunday and put up Sunday afternoon and put up Sunday night. And there is something about being in a collaborative effort with people who all have a real good handle on pieces of the pie. And everybody gets in the kitchen and starts throwing in a little bit of seasoning here, a little bit of sauce there, some fresh vegetables here, and the heat of getting ready to perform turns that up and forces you to really stay focused and stay lean on the process of bringing something to life. And it has bled over into the work that I've done on stage. One Night in Miami was an incredible incredible orchestrative ensemble experience about 4 iconic individuals in our history, about a real meeting. And if you saw the movie, that was a version of it. But even when I step into the booth, or I step onto a TV series, or I'm producing something of my own, I never go into it thinking it's got to be all me. In fact, I don't go into it wanting it to be all me. I want to go in and give my A game to whatever it is, and then get feedback from somebody else who's immersed in some portion of the story that I hadn't even thought of, and allow that to impact and influence what it is that I do. And it may not necessarily show up on screen, but inside, I'm having this creative smorgasbord-like experience of working with other artists, and it pulls me in and makes me a better artist. And I always say metal sharpens metal, and to be in a career path that allows you to consistently have your metal sharpened by other people that are fantastic what they do, and also being in situations with people who are not on your level and forcing yourself to take your game up to help lift them. Oh my, y'all could, I'm gonna get my towel out. I love
definitely
that
makes
experience.
the dream work.
It does. It's so much funner when you're working in a collaborative effort.
It's
like
so
that.
interesting for me to kind of hear this and just like get these experiences vicariously through y'all, because my career similarly started in the pandemic, and voice acting for me took off first in a small closet in my parents' guest room, and then, my own booth, and then my own home and my own booth / studio inside my home. And it's like, it was this progression, but I was alone. Like, I think what some people don't realize, especially Vivian, like, you're on location, our work as actors or as entertainers, even, Tony Empire builders, it can be very lonely. Like, there isn't always a space to invite in another opinion when you're publishing or when you're thought leading. How I came up to reach 60 million people was through my phone and me and my editing skills and producing original content. And I have an executive assistant. Now I have a manager and multiple agents who are amazing. There are people who help me to every opportunity, but the performance for me thus far has largely been as a solo talent. So like when there is another person on the commercial or in the booth or on set somewhere, Mexico City, I can hear other voices on the other end. Like that is lovely, but the performance has really been down to me. So it's been tough, but I'll say it also oddly, I do feel my best. I feel my best when I am in complete creative control, which is so fun. And I think like okay to accept, sometimes, especially the nature of like comedy. I'm writing the jokes, the original, it's coming from me. It's not as much a partnership as it is being unafraid to be wholly vulnerable and let the world see me and see and understand what I think. And that comes out in my comedy. And I do have to do that alone. So it's a very brave job. It takes a lot. It pushes me, but I do love it. And this is interesting because I don't really think I hear enough about it in our industry, but I'm doing my best work when I am rested and healed so that I can also heal others and so that I can also encourage them to rest. We work so hard as underrepresented creatives to do way more than others are doing to get half of the shine or the limelight or the spotlight or whatever. The films that these folks worked on, you can tell tirelessly, some of them traversed countries to be able to produce what they did. But it's so important for us to rest. So I've really been evangelizing, protecting yourself, protecting your energy, and just educating yourself around your business so that you can do it alone if you need to, because it can be really isolating to be a talent. So that's kind of where I am when I'm working my best. And I think it does reflect well, and others are able to like receive that and be inspired by that also.
That's great, Joy. And what I'll add real quick to what you just said is that physical fitness is a big piece, and it's very important. You have to be in shape. I'm not talking about any kind of aesthetic. I'm not talking about any kind of superficial goal or false reality. I'm saying that you have to be at your best physically in order to endure these kinds of things. Making a movie, I don't care if you're on a movie for 6 months or for 6 weeks or for 10 days. It's a grind. And if you have the luxury of doing a Clint Eastwood type movie where you're doing 1 or 1.5 pages a day, or whether you're doing a Tony Spires film and you're doing 10 to 19 pages a day. It's a grind. If you're doing a festival like the one we're doing now, I'm sure the organizers, I'm sure Hallie and Michael and them can tell you it's a grind. Those of you who are involved in the film festival aspect of this festival alone, I'm sure you can tell us about the grind. It's a toll that it takes on you to do creative work of whatever genre you're in. You got to be in shape, or you will. Like, I have a friend, he just turned 70 years old. He just had his 50th high school reunion. He's older than me, by the way, by many years. But he told me how he had to, because he coordinated the reunion that he just did, and he had to take 48 hours rest to catch up to himself after he produced that reunion, because he was so beat up from the experience. But he was in shape. So can you imagine if you were not in shape? He was telling me about some of his friends who showed up. Some of them were on oxygen tanks. Some of them had canes. Some of them could barely move. They were immobile. He's 70 and in great shape. So he was able to come in there and only need 48 hours to recover because of that fact. So I want to emphasize that for those of us who are on the panel and those who are listening, tuning in, catching this through social media or what have you, be in shape, be at your best physical, mental, spiritual shape so that you can endure the challenges that will inevitably present themselves during the creative process.
Here on that, brother.
I love that. And kind of off of that, so all of you are multi-hyphenates. There's so much that you do. How do you go about choosing what to focus on and prioritize in a season of your life? And I'm sure, like, for filmmakers, there's so much that they're also trying to do as well. But how do you choose what gets your attention and what gets all of this energy?
If I could, I'll jump on that. I started my career single guy in my 30s with a lot of energy to burn and a lot of freedom of my time. And in the last 7 years, I got married later in life. And within that 7-year time frame, I had a son. And here I am, I was pushing up on middle-aged and starting my life, that part of my life. And now that I'm 3.5 years on the other side of becoming a father and 7 years in being a husband, as a creative and an artist, my time is no longer my own. My best time is no longer my own. And so if I'm going to take on a role, a job, something to elevate the career or to selfishly marinate myself in, it has to be rich. It has to be written extremely well. And it needs to be with people who are about the business of creating something that is artistic and has something to say. It can't be something frivolous, and it cannot be something that just, hey, we're just going to do this one little thing and then we're going to be done. It simply can't be, because every minute that I'm spending doing something in my creative path is a minute I'm missing with my family and missing with my son. And anytime I'm taken away from a job, taken away from home, that's time I'm losing with him. And because this industry and business is built the way it is, the second you have something wonderful happen in your personal life, your career going to end up taking off. I had a son. 2 months later, I got an audition and I was off to Canada for 5 months to shoot a TV series. So I missed month 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of my child's life. So anytime I'm going to be pulled away from him, it's got to be worth it for me as an artist. And keeping it a buck, it's got to be worth more. It's got to be worth some bucks. Yep. It just, I'm keeping it a real. I got into this business knowing that I could make money in it, knowing that I could have a long career doing it and thriving in it. And I never did the whole I'm a struggling artist piece.
Yeah.
I didn't ever go down that road. I knew I could earn. And so I always approached it with that mentality. And I don't put that first, but that is one of the factors that's in there. It's gotta feed me, and it's gotta feed my financial needs.
I think that's very real, because we do have to prioritize what helps us survive as artists. It's a business that we run. Each of us runs companies in order to hire ourselves. It's what is like legally required, right? So we're all kind of business owners in that way. And sometimes you do need to put the bottom line of the business above your own creative pursuits or like personal pleasure. At times you have to. I take a really like strategic approach where at the end of every year, around December 30th, I start taking stock, and then I create a vision board for the year to come. So I've been doing this for the past 3 years. Many folks do, but mine is like so visual, so specific. And I set those goals, and I make sure that every time I accept a new opportunity as the year continues. And of course, I'm better about this from January to June than I am from July to December. But is this going to help me reach one of my vision board goals? Does this align? Having a value set and system in what you believe in, brands that you will or will not work with, roles you will or will not take on, also helps you easily yes, no when things come in from agents, managers, and third parties. But for me, it is that strategic. So at the beginning of the year, I said, I want to be cast in a feature film and in television. I want to host a dating reality TV series. I want to work on children's original content. I want to grow my socials this much % with this much engagement and dedicate myself to these platforms and a number of other talent goals. And so slowly and steadily, I've begun to hit a lot of them. Had my first, not just first, but first through sixth, maybe 7, 8, 9 national commercials this year as an actor. And that was on the vision board. Thank you. That was set in the vision board last December. I said I want to be my first SAG-AFTRA video game. Did that. I think it was 1 or 2 now this year. So it's like, I just take a really tactical, what do I want to do? And you make sure that you commit to it, right? And it can change. You may not hit it all. You shouldn't hit it all. It should be ambitious. It should be slightly beyond you. But sit down and really do that. And I think as an entertainer or a filmmaker, that can really like advantage you if you refer to it throughout the year.
I love that so much. Now, I guess another question for you, Joy. So I know you said a lot of your work kind of started alone, kind of started solo. Did you go about getting mentorship at all? And for filmmakers or people looking for mentorship, what advice could you give? And for anybody, what advice would you give for somebody looking for mentorship? How do you shoot your professional shot for a mentor? And what questions should you be asking?
Emma loves mentors. Mentors are so nice, but I don't think you actually need them. And this is like, I guess, unpopular opinion. So many people waste their time seeking one individual that they really admire to mentor them, to greenlight them, fund them. Emma doesn't need mentors. Emma needs to move. Emma needs to produce. Emma needs to create. Like, so that's been my thing. I'm sorry, I don't know why he came up, but just his Emma spirit say, like, I'm giving you the hug and permission if you're listening to this to just go and do. So I realized this pretty early on when I was in technology and, you know, saw people kind of pitching mentorship. And please do not take this the wrong way. I've had amazing people offer me mentorship for small, specific periods of time. I've even signed up for and been a member of mentorship programs. They're great to get started. But I, as an artist and as a business leader, accept mentorship from everywhere. This has helped me get really far in my career. You're not too reliant. You're not using any one person's voice as the compass for what is or isn't true. I've approached Jason here on this panel. I've approached and been guided by Affion Crockett, right? Legendary comedian and business owner. And he's said 2 sentences to me that have really helped me at a time, right? I've sat with and watched other people from afar that haven't even spoken to me directly, but I go consume a podcast or buy a book or a product, but okay, cool, got it. So I just encourage filmmakers to really not waste time on thinking I need to be matched to one mentor. I need to run to Ryan Coogler and he needs to take me under his wing for me to succeed. You are your own enterprise. You're building your own company, your own brand. People are looking to you. You have something to say that is unique, and you should look to others. You should ask questions, be incredibly curious, retain that advice, but take it all in, weigh it, and then make a decision and act. I'm only in the position that I'm in as an actor and a business owner because I've continued to take action since 2020. I never stopped, like fully stopped creating. Advice on how to shoot your shot. Try not to, we're busy people. I think everyone here can admit. So try not to ask things of people that you don't have rapport with that are like really long-term commitments. It is so much better to go up to a filmmaker or a voice actor, whomever, and ask, hey, if I interface with your assistant, go through the right channels, or hey, can I get your quick feedback on this? What are your thoughts on the direction of artificial intelligence in filmmaking? Like, ask something highly specific that they can answer, address, or feedback on quickly, and then say that you'd love to keep in touch with them and leave that door wide open. But do not ask for a huge commitment out the gate or a long-term relationship. You don't ask for a relationship, you build it over time. So I really hope that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't ask for anything but is the experience I've had. But offer. The best way, if you want to go down the path of a mentor, the best way to establish a relationship with one is just go be of service, even if that means being a gopher. And if the only thing you can do is go get coffee, be the best go getting coffee assistant you can find that's out there. Make yourself of service to people who are doing in life the things that you want to do, or doing in this career the things that you want to do. They may say yes, they may say no, but if you everybody in this business that's creating something will accept free help from somebody that knows how to be professional. If you want it, go get it, and you'll be amazed at the places that kind of approach will land you. And to Joy's point, just take action. Just continue to take action. I get constant questions from friends, frat brothers, sorors, all kinds of people talking about their kids wanting to become actors. I'm going, well, do they want to become famous, or do they want to be actors? Because if they want to be actors, they can stay at home where you're at now and go do regional theater, and they're actors. If they want to be famous, that's a whole different thing that we're talking about. And I ain't famous, I guess, and yet I'm acting and I'm doing it all the time. So I think it's very, very important to be clear on what it is that you really, truly want before you go talk to someone about mentorship, because no one has pixie dust that can sprinkle on you and turn you into a superstar. And if they do, or turn you into anything, if they do, there's some poison in that pixie dust that you probably don't want sprinkled on you or rubbed on you with baby oil.
You don't take
I'm gonna let that go. That's a whole different conversation.
Got it. I appreciate all of that feedback. So in this industry, there has been a lot of change, and kind of a big topic within this festival is Afrofuturism and transformation and things like that. So for you, has there been any positive change that you've noticed within the industry, and how do you think other people can help support those kind of change and movements within the industry?
I'd love to kind of come into that. As an Afro-Latina, I feel like a lot of the Latino culture, we've really focused on this word neutral, or a lot of Mexican American type shows or leads in different shows because it's aesthetically more pleasing, or I don't know what the reason would be, but it is kind of nice to see the John Leguizamos, and I've been working for a long time with him, do things like speak at the Emmys on that and talk about diversity and how we all need to be lifting each other up rather than competing with each other. I mean, I feel very blessed to have, right when I moved to Los Angeles, I became a series regular right away. So I thought that was going to be forever. and that just wasn't the case. So having a voice in that aspect in the Caribbean, I think that a lot of Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican type voices, those weren't really heard earlier on. You see a lot of the, for lack of a better term, Central American, actors working much more than the Caribbean flavor. And we all know that that's so real, and that's so popular, and it's such a place where it's not just on the East Coast, or it's not just kept in this little cupboard. We have to make it span across the world, across the United States, first of all, and have those stories and voices be so heard. So I have seen a difference, but I think, just like Jason was saying, I mean, we need to make our own opportunities be louder. And I think that a lot of accomplishments that have been in that has been lately, seeing that within what we see here in the festival and moving forward with that voice. I think that we just can make it on such a bigger platform with this type of thing. I mean, Joy has a huge voice and a huge platform as well, where she can advertise so much more of this type of festival, that it can become smaller facets and bigger stories.
Kind of switching towards you, Joy, because I know you do work a lot in like technology. You have really got a great grasp on like social media. What advice would you give to filmmakers to utilize social media to expand their reach, expand their audience? And are there any changes within like social media that get you excited, that you're excited about, new ways people can take advantage of social media to use it to help in their artistry?
This is exciting. I could go so many places with it. Filmmakers, and I'll call them like theatrically, classically trained actors in particular, like Jason and others, they share this trait of wanting anything that they put out to be like absurdly excellent, right? Refined, beautiful, tasteful, classy, of high class and culture, not low class and culture. And a lot of them have a perspective of what we do on social media, like in producing regular short form videos or talking to people going live, of being refined and low class and like low culture. And what I would encourage is that you can advance your high culture projects and your high taste cinematic work or theatrical work or what have you by distilling it in a way that is digestible. It doesn't take away from the elegance that you have, the power that you have, the magic that you have, to be a little bit more present. I think we're shifting industry wise from actors being very mysterious, right, and aloof and removed and inaccessible, to being able to DM and have an interaction, right, with your favorite actor. And just what I would encourage is that if you are seeking artistic success and accolades, and you think that that can only be gleaned by being offline, perpetually offline, fine. But if you need survival and you need entrepreneurial success with the films that you're making, you want to sell them. I've never formally studied filmmaking, and I've never formally, other than classes like as a voice actor, this is before, to this point that I arrived at in 2021, I'd never formally studied filmmaking or show running, and I'd never formally studied acting. I have pitched to every major Black showrunner in Hollywood, like invited to directly email or directly meet or have an ongoing series of meetings, because I did with social media and new media what they are not capable of doing, which is producing incredible, absurd, amazing, captivating, and shareable original ideas repeatedly, quickly, for years at a time. Our industry isn't scaled to do that. So just what I would encourage is that whether it's, you're a feature filmmaker or documentaries, learn how to produce short form video that entices and excites people into what you're doing. You're a voice actor, quote unquote, not famous. Show people you, not just your characters. They'll buy into you, right? And then everything that you begin to produce and buy, they will shop later. So I think just being willing to let go of everything being perfect and excellent. We are really, especially with AI, shifting towards an industry where a lot of things are going to be inauthentic, computer generated, perfect, to a T, eerily, uncanny valley. That I think that if you can give them comforting, raw, real, familiar, like, you will win on social. So that's kind of my like thematic. And then in terms of like things that they can dip into or try that they haven't yet, um, I it's tough. I think we just go in circles. So all I would say is just watch the circles. We were all BBL culture and thick and da 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 and brick house. Then we went skinny fashion fad, Mary Kate Ashley, diet Grey's Anatomy. Oh my God, I'm above a size. Then we went, let's get the BBLs again. Then we went, I got my buccal fat removed, because actually we're always just going in trends with this stuff. So whether it's traditional TV, cable, it was big. Then we broke it down and it was small, and everybody want individual streamers. Now people are being paid to bundle up individual streamers, and they're trying to sell you. What is that? Cable? Like, just notice how everything goes in a circle. So if you feel like you missed something, just gear up, because it's coming right back. That would be kind of my like trend spotting advice. I hope that helps. I think that I'm successful in what I do on social media because I'm creative, I'm honest, I have not given up, I'm not afraid to be frequently consumed. And so really just get over that fear of being repeatedly out there, get over that fear of, okay, well, if I have this idea, what's coming next? Like, you are full of infinite ideas. And so social needs you, and you can earn a lot of money doing it.
I think it's a balance too, though, because social media is such an asset, but having a backbone of real and raw filmmaking. Like for instance, I'm shadowing a couple of people for some procedurals, mainly female directors, and just knowing that cinematography and having that eye is such a real and important thing to do than to just glaze over it with maybe glorifying AI or any of that. I think all of it's important to really have a balance and dance with both aspects in the filmmaking world, because it's such a respected thing. Of course, obviously not having any fear of diving into socials and building a business and making money. That's always important for your livelihood and for future, because that's where the world is really shifting. But to be able to make some real cinematography and a feature film work, I think it's so important to remember the for lack of a better, the Scorseses, the beautiful pictures, the things that we've seen that will still stand the test of time. I think all of that artwork is still so important, to be viewed and to be. We speak about consumerism. I think that should be consumed as well, because if we lose that, then we lose like the real and raw artistry of what we can bring back.
I really love what both of you all are saying right now. I really do, because you're talking about the same thing from two different perspectives, but ultimately what you're talking about underneath it is being really good at what it is that you do. Being talented and gifted and trained in what it is that you do, so that if the media changes, you can step forward into that new media, because it's not about the device, it's about you. It's about your gift. It's about what you have to give. And I came up at a time where the internet was just starting to show up as a device for people to get their voice out. And I distinctly remember sitting in a casting workshop, listening to casting directors shame actors for putting anything out on the internet, on YouTube. If you do, you won't be considered a serious actor. And 4 years almost to the month, Issa dropped Awkward Black Girl, and got her show picked up. And the number of people that have since come through that lane and elevated themselves to the point where now they're looking for content for streaming and TV. They're looking for content from that pool of talent. Now, again, I say pool of talent because there's a lot of people out there that they're just trying to get attention, and they don't have the substance to take it a step further. And that's where I feel like the commonality in what you all are speaking of is having the substance underneath what you're doing, so that when the opportunity presents itself for you to take a bigger step, you're able to step through it strongly, proudly, with chest out, head up, knowing that you're going to hit a home run. And I think all too often, too many people are grabbing a hold of a device to get themselves attention, but they don't have anything behind it. And those people end up fizzling very, very quickly.
That's right.
You don't want to, the worst thing, the only thing worse that I could think of in becoming really successful is becoming really successful and then have nothing to back that up, and then having to retreat back to a place of mediocrity simply because your chops weren't there. So I love what you all are both saying. I probably gonna hit you up, Joy, and try and figure out how to throttle up my career in this area, because it's something that I haven't shied away from. I just don't know what to do.
Socials is something, and again, because by the grace of God, I feel like I've been afforded opportunity in the feature film world and longevity as a series regular, bouncing from project to project. Right now, I'm in a space where creating my own content. Let's go. Let's get it. Joy, what's up? Let's talk.
I got people for you. But you're like, so what you do, I mean, both of you, and even Tony as well, from like producing and being behind, like you're a star maker and you've built star maker vehicles. What you do is so inspiring and so sought after. And when I was a child, still a child, but when I was a child in the suburbs dreaming of like who I would be as an entertainer, it would be to accomplish the things that you all have already accomplished. I did not know or think or dream that I would be like an internet sensation when I was a child. The modality that I wanted is what you do. I had no idea how I was going to get there. So my path was like unconventional, but I do think we have so much to learn from one another. And I would say finally maybe just go where you're demanded. Because if you're getting called for those series regulars and that is your path and that is working and it's feeding you and it's feeding your heart and so on, go where you're demanded. Go that path. If you're getting Broadway's calling, and take the audition, right? But also, if people start following you, don't be afraid to serve them a little bit.
And I think that goes back to the discussion that we had earlier in regards to just being so multifaceted and doing all of the things at the same time. Like when we were talking about what's your favorite thing to do, it's really hard because as a voiceover artist as well, that's something that I was doing in my trailer, then hopping into another character when you're outside of it. And I mean, I think you all can speak to it. All of that character work, it takes a lot out of you. Yeah. So becoming someone else and really creating that movement, not only within the voice, but the physical, as Tony was saying, stay worked out, stay ready, be physically fit, mentally, spiritually, all of it. It's not easy to continue changing it up and switching up the dialogue and making sure that you are staying current and relevant. So doing it all, if you can, is such an amazing thing. But obviously looking out for your mental health first, while you continue working every single, the sky's the limit. Never limit yourself when it comes to anything in the arts. And social media and the internets are part of that. I never thought I'd hear myself say that either, but that's where we at. And embracing it is what's going to make it feel that much more like it's with brushstroke rather than just something that's so, I don't know what's a good word, because I don't want to say anything against it. It's not fleeting, but something that's so for face value and doesn't really have and the backbone for it. I think if you accept it and move into something in a way that you feel like it's an artistic integrity, then I think that is the way to go about doing your work.
I love this. I'm taking notes, mental notes. I'm going to come back and rewatch all of this and take even more notes. I'm hearing balance. I'm hearing the importance of like craft and working on your craft, and the importance of like collaboration and kind of leaning into each other and what you're learning from each other. And so I'm really excited, and I'm really excited for more people when they come to the festival to tune in and get all of these gems and much more. I can't say thank you enough for all of your time today, for this conversation. I'm so excited, like I said, for more people to get more of these gems for you all. So as a last question, what can people expect from the AfroComicCon International Film Festival, Clip Tease Festival? In one word, what's something exciting that people can look forward to?
Diversity.
I love it.
Unexpected.
Talent.
Truth.
I love it. I'm so excited. So again, thank you so much. I'm going to bring up our co-director, Mirage, for any final remarks that she might have, and co-founder, Hallie, if there's anything that you guys would like to share or add. But again, thank you guys so much, and can't wait to tune in to the live event.
I want to say thank you for this conversation. It's been fantastic. Such beautiful back and forth, and just really brings out what everyone who knows me, the heart of who I believe I am, I don't know, but is collaboration, and how we can have we can have better stories, more visibility, less, more representation, less tokenism, when we work together and listen together and create and build on what we have done before. So the stuff that's coming out based, we keep our eyes and ears open and also take in what's already worked. Oh my gosh, that's what this is about. And us being able to look at new and like up and coming creatives and give them our hearts and our ears and our minds, and you all judges doing that. Such an honor to be a part of this and to hear all of that. And I'm not going to talk anymore because y'all know I can talk a lot. I'm going to put myself on mute.
The conversation was incredible. I definitely am going to listen to it again later. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And also Michael was in the backstage, but he had some technical difficulties. So I'm going to thank you also on his behalf, and also Juan Davis, our other director, this is his 3rd year. I just want to say, he's the backbone of this whole thing. And I wish he could have been here, but he also, I'm sure, thanks you guys from the bottom of his heart. And you'll be seeing him at the festival. So thank you so much. Can't wait to feel this joy, and hopefully we'll be celebrating good news. We've got to put that energy out there. All right.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your days.
Thank you, Kayla.
Great job, Kayla.
Good job.
Thank you. Wonderful job, Kayla. Amazing.
Kayla,